Gentlemen, listen carefully because this is crucial. There's a prevailing idea in society today that a man who's been alone for too long is somehow lacking in social skills, in attractiveness, in capability. But that's nonsense. It's the complete opposite of the truth. A man who has been without a relationship for an extended period, if he has used that time wisely, is a man who has cultivated his strength, his discipline, and his independence. And that makes him a high-value individual, not just in the dating market, but in life itself. A man who stands alone is a man who learns to stand tall. In solitude, there is no safety net, no comforting hand to hold, no one to lean on when the weight of the world presses down. There is only you. And when there is only you, you either break or you forge yourself into something unshakable. The longer a man walks without companionship, the more he is forced to face the raw, unfiltered reality of himself. There are no distractions, no emotional crutches, no soft assurances that everything will be fine. There is only the brutal truth of who he is, and that truth can either crush him or transform him into a force beyond comprehension. Weak men avoid solitude because they fear what they might find within themselves. They seek constant validation, desperate for approval, clinging to relationships not out of strength, but out of an inability to stand alone. But the man who embraces solitude walks a path few dare to tread. He enters the abyss willingly, knowing that only through fire is steel hardened. Every great figure in history, every conqueror, every philosopher, every master of his craft has spent long periods of his life in isolation. This is not a coincidence. When the noise of the world fades, when the distractions are stripped away, what remains is focus, pure, undiluted focus. And a man who is focused is a man who is dangerous. There is no one to comfort you when you fail, and that is the greatest gift life can offer, because in that moment when there is no one to pick you up, you learn to pick yourself up. And once you learn that, once you truly grasp the power of self-reliance, you become unstoppable. No betrayal can break you. No rejection can shake you. No loss can define you. A man who has been alone long enough learns the true nature of discipline. He understands that without external validation, he must create his own. He builds his body not for the approval of others, but because he knows strength is the foundation of dominance. He sharpens his mind not to impress, but to command his own reality. He refines his skills not for praise, but because competence is the ultimate weapon. While others waste their time chasing fleeting comforts, the man who has embraced solitude is at war with himself. He is breaking his weaknesses. He is refining his strengths. He is testing his limits. He is building a foundation so solid that no storm can shake it. A man who has not suffered alone does not know who he is. He has not been forced to sit in silence with his thoughts, to battle his own demons, to conquer his own mind. He has not had to stare into the depths of his own existence and ask himself, what am I truly made of? The man who has been alone for long enough has answered that question through action, through hardship, through relentless pursuit of something greater. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The man who is always surrounded by comfort never feels the urgency to evolve. He never feels the pressure to grow. But the man who has walked alone knows that survival depends on adaptation, and adaptation breeds dominance. The world does not respect the weak. It does not admire the dependent. It does not reward those who cry for help at every turn. The world respects the man who has walked through hell alone and emerged stronger. The world admires the man who has taken his solitude and turned it into an empire. The world bows to the man who has proven beyond doubt that he does not need it. A man who has been without a relationship for long enough learns the true nature of control. He controls his emotions because there is no one to regulate them for him. He controls his actions because there is no one to hold him accountable but himself. He controls his destiny because he has learned that no one is coming to save him. And a man who controls himself controls everything. Solitude teaches a man the brutal reality of time. When there is no one else to blame, no one else to distract, no one else to offer excuses, he realizes that every second wasted is a second lost forever. He either uses his time to build, to improve, to sharpen himself into something extraordinary, or he drowns in the abyss of mediocrity. And the man who has been alone for long enough refuses to drown. He understands that every moment of isolation is a moment of opportunity. While others are consumed by trivial distractions, he is consumed by his mission. While others seek validation, he seeks mastery. While others crave companionship, he craves self-sufficiency. And when he finally steps back into the world, he is not the same. He is something greater. A man who has spent years without a relationship has built a foundation that no storm can erode. He has endured the silence, and in that silence he has found strength. He has fought battles no one will ever see, and in those battles he has forged his will. He has turned his pain into power, his loneliness into discipline, his solitude into an unshakable identity. When a man has been alone long enough, he stops chasing. He does not run after approval. He does not seek to be liked. He does not bend himself to fit the expectations of others. He becomes. And when a man becomes something undeniable, the world has no choice but to take notice. Women recognize this. They see a man who is not desperate, who does not seek their validation, who does not beg for their attention. They see a man who has built himself into something formidable, and they are drawn to him, not because he needs them, but because he does. That is the paradox. The man who has been alone has cultivated a presence that demands respect. He does not have to speak loudly. His actions, his discipline, his sheer existence speak for him. He does not need to chase. He does not need to prove. He is proof. A weak man fears solitude because he does not trust himself to withstand it. A strong man embraces it because he knows that within that solitude lies the key to his evolution. He understands that in the absence of external validation, he has the chance to validate himself. And once a man has validated himself, he becomes untouchable. There is a reason why kings, warriors, and philosophers of the past spent years in isolation before stepping into their greatness. They understood that true power is cultivated in silence. True mastery is forged in solitude. True greatness is born not in the company of others, but in the moments when a man stands alone and refuses to break. The man who has spent years alone is the man who has built something indestructible within himself. He has turned his solitude into steel, his suffering into wisdom, his time into mastery. He does not need saving. He does not need reassurance. He does not need anything. And that is why he is unstoppable. A man who does not master himself will forever be a slave to his circumstances. The world does not wait for the weak. It does not accommodate the hesitant. It does not reward the passive. It crushes them. It buries them beneath the weight of their own indecision. But the man who chooses to master himself, to shape himself into something formidable, bends reality to his will. A man who chases relationships before he has conquered himself is building a house on sand. He has no foundation, no structure, no spine. He is a man dictated by his emotions, by his impulses, by the fleeting desires of the moment. And a man without control over himself is a man controlled by everything else. If you do not own your mind, someone else will. If you do not control your emotions, the world will manipulate them. If you do not carve your own path, you will be led down one designed to keep you weak. A man who does not establish dominance over himself will always live at the mercy of forces greater than him. A relationship should not be an escape from inadequacy. It should not be a mask for insecurity. It should not be a crutch to lean on when life becomes unbearable. It should be a union of two whole individuals, not a refuge for the incomplete. But weak men do not understand this. They seek comfort before they seek competence. They seek validation before they seek value. And that is why they are disposable. A man who has not yet built himself has no business seeking partnership. He is entering a battlefield unarmed, untrained, unprepared. He is looking for acceptance before he has even accepted himself. He is searching for love when he has not even cultivated discipline, direction, or drive. He is hoping for stability from another person when he has not created it within himself. No woman respects a man who is lost. She may tolerate him, she may use him, she may even temporarily entertain him, but she will never admire him. A man who does not stand firm in his purpose is a man who will be tested, pushed, and ultimately discarded. Because she does not want to be his guide. She does not want to be his reason for being. She wants to be drawn into the force of a man who already knows exactly where he is going. Purpose precedes partnership. Mastery precedes love. A man who has spent his time forging himself into something powerful will never find himself begging for affection. He does not need to chase because he's already moving so fast that the world takes notice. His presence is undeniable. His energy is magnetic. His focus is absolute. The man who builds himself first does not enter relationships out of desperation. He enters them from a position of strength. He is not seeking completion because he is already whole. He is not afraid of being alone because solitude has been his greatest weapon. He is not intimidated by loss because he has built his life on something greater than fleeting romance. Men who do not master themselves fall victim to their own weaknesses. They allow emotions to dictate their actions. They allow their desires to override their discipline. They become erratic, unstable, unreliable. And nothing destroys respect faster than a man who cannot command himself. The man who has spent years refining his mind, sharpening his body, cultivating his skills, does not approach relationships the same way the weak do. He does not beg for attention. He does not compromise his values for approval. He does not tolerate disrespect because he knows his worth. And because he knows his worth, so does everyone else. A woman does not admire a man because he needs her. She admires him because he does not. She is drawn to the man who could walk away at any moment and still be perfectly fine. She respects the man whose life does not revolve around her because she understands, consciously or not, that he is something rare, something few men have the discipline to become. To master yourself is to remove yourself from the chains of external validation. It is to become independent of opinions, unaffected by trends, immune to manipulation. It is to stand so firmly in your own reality that the world conforms to your presence, not the other way around. Weak men sacrifice themselves for relationships. Strong men build themselves first and then choose relationships that elevate them. There is a difference between wanting companionship and being dependent on it. One is a preference, the other is a weakness. A relationship should not be the goal. The goal should be to become so powerful, so competent, so undeniable that the right relationships come as a byproduct of your existence. You do not need to search for them. They appear because you are exactly what others want to be around. A man who has not mastered himself enters relationships from a place of fear. He fears loneliness. He fears rejection. He fears being unwanted. And fear is weakness. A man who operates from fear will always be controlled. A man who operates from power will always be in control. If you are not yet strong, your love will be weak. If you are not yet disciplined, your emotions will betray you. If you are not yet whole, your relationships will be fragile. You cannot skip this step. You cannot ignore this truth. You cannot build something meaningful on a foundation of uncertainty and insecurity. The longer you have been alone, the more opportunity you have had to refine yourself. And the more refined you become, the more valuable you are. Not just in relationships, but in every aspect of life. A man who has mastered himself is not just desirable, he is respected, he is sought after, he is followed. The world bows to those who control themselves. It rewards those who have put in the work to become something formidable. It admires those who do not bend, who do not waver, who do not seek approval. A man who has been alone long enough to master himself does not need to prove his worth. His existence is proof. If you cannot control your mind, your emotions will destroy you. If you cannot control your time, distractions will consume you. If you cannot control your desires, they will enslave you. Mastery is not optional. It is the difference between being a man of influence and being a man forgotten. A man who has built himself first does not enter relationships to be saved. He does not look for a partner to fix his problems. He does not need external motivation to pursue greatness. He is already on that path. And because he is on that path, he attracts everything that weak men chase in vain. Power is not given, it is earned. And it is earned in the hours, the years, the decades of disciplined self-improvement. It is earned through sacrifice, through struggle, through relentless refinement. And the man who has earned it does not need to explain himself. He does not need to seek validation. He does not need permission to be great. When you become a man of purpose, relationships cease to be a distraction. They become an addition to an already unstoppable trajectory. And only then do you enter them as an equal, not as a dependent. Only then do you command respect rather than seek it. Only then do you dictate the terms of your own life. A weak man hopes for love. A strong man creates a life that demands admiration. A weak man chases relationships. A strong man becomes so undeniable that relationships chase him. A weak man looks for approval. A strong man builds himself into something that needs no approval. The longer you have been alone, the more time you have had to become something greater. And if you have used that time wisely, you do not enter relationships out of need, you enter them out of choice. And that is the ultimate power. A man who devotes himself to his purpose becomes an unstoppable force. His movements are precise, his actions are deliberate, his vision is unshakable. He does not wander through life aimlessly, begging for attention, hoping for affection. He is consumed by something far greater than fleeting emotions. He is a man on a mission, and the world cannot ignore him. A man who is focused on his path radiates a presence that cannot be fabricated. There is a weight behind his words, a fire behind his eyes, an energy in his being that cannot be imitated. He does not chase because he is too busy building. He does not seek approval because his purpose already validates him. He does not waste time proving himself because his results speak louder than any words ever could. A woman sees this. She senses it. She feels it in the way he carries himself, in the way he speaks, in the way he moves through life with a confidence that is earned, not borrowed. She is drawn to it, not because he demands her attention, but because he does not need it. His very existence is a testament to his value. Weak men grasp for relationships in desperation, searching for meaning in the eyes of another. They sculpt themselves around the desires of women, twisting, bending, sacrificing their essence to be liked. They become hollow, spineless, disposable. They are seen, but they are not respected. They exist, but they do not command. A man who builds himself first does not need to search. He is a gravitational force. His competence, his discipline, his unwavering focus pull people toward him, not through manipulation, not through deception, but through sheer undeniable value. He becomes rare, and what is rare is always in demand. Women are not drawn to men who are lost. They do not admire men who are uncertain, who hesitate, who shrink under pressure. They crave the man who stands firm, the man who walks his own path, the man who does not ask for permission to exist. They follow the man who is already leading himself. A man who knows his purpose does not tolerate mediocrity. He does not engage in meaningless pursuits. He does not entertain distractions. He does not waste time in relationships that do not align with his mission. He moves with precision, cutting away the unnecessary, refining himself with each passing day. When a man pours his energy into becoming formidable, everything changes. The way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the way he interacts with the world. His presence is undeniable. His absence is felt. His name is remembered. Women do not admire men who beg for their time. They admire the man who is so engrossed in his mission that his time is a privilege, not an expectation. They do not value the man who puts them on a pedestal. They value the man who puts his purpose first, because they know that a man with a purpose is a man worth standing beside. A weak man believes love is his greatest achievement. A strong man understands that his mission is his legacy. He does not sacrifice his path for fleeting romance. He does not surrender his time to momentary pleasure. He does not trade his ambition for short-term gratification. He builds, he grows, he evolves. Women respect the man who moves forward, with or without them. They chase the man who is too busy creating his empire to notice their game. They admire the man who does not fold under pressure, who does not bend for approval, who does not sacrifice his essence to be liked. They crave the man who is whole on his own. A man consumed by purpose has no need to convince anyone of his worth. His actions, his discipline, his results do the talking. He is undeniable, not because he demands attention, but because his value cannot be ignored. He does not seek validation because his purpose already affirms him. A man who has mastered himself, who has dedicated himself to something greater than momentary desires, stands out without trying. He does not chase attention, but attention finds him. He does not beg for admiration, but admiration follows him. He does not seek validation because he is already validated by his own excellence. A woman does not respect a man who seeks completion in her. She respects the man who is already whole. She is drawn to the man who does not hesitate, who does not question his own worth, who does not stumble in his own presence. She admires the man who walks with certainty, because certainty is power. A man who is truly on his path does not need to ask for permission to lead. His very existence commands it. His competence demands respect. His presence shifts the room. His focus is so strong that the world bends around it. His results speak for him before he ever utters a word. A weak man waits for opportunities. A strong man creates them. A weak man seeks approval. A strong man earns admiration. A weak man is shaped by the opinions of others. A strong man shapes the world around him. When a man devotes himself fully to his craft, his body, his mind, his purpose, he enters a realm that few ever reach. He becomes something different, something rare, something exceptional. And when something is exceptional, it is pursued. A man who stands still is forgotten. A man who moves with purpose is unforgettable. He does not fade into the background. He does not disappear into mediocrity. He is seen, he is recognized, he is respected. Women are instinctively drawn to the man who cannot be shaken. They are repelled by uncertainty, by indecision, by weakness. They seek a leader, a pillar, a foundation strong enough to support something greater. They do not want a man who is waiting to be chosen. They want the man who has already chosen himself. A man who is driven does not fear loss. He does not beg for acceptance. He does not fold under rejection. He is too focused, too disciplined, too engrossed in his own path to be derailed by the opinions of others. He moves forward, always forward, never looking back. A man with purpose does not tolerate chaos in his life. He does not entertain drama. He does not lower his standards. He does not engage in relationships that drain him. He builds a life of order, of structure, of precision. And that order is respected. A man who is truly on his path does not need to prove his worth. He is proof. His actions, his accomplishments, his presence are all the validation he will ever need. He does not chase recognition. Recognition chases him. A man who places his purpose above all else becomes the embodiment of everything the weak envy and the strong admire. He is not looking for approval. He is not hoping for validation. He is not searching for love. He is too busy becoming. A woman follows the man who is already going somewhere. She does not follow the lost, the uncertain, the weak. She follows the man whose mission is so powerful, so consuming, so undeniable that she cannot help but be drawn into its force. She does not create his greatness. She is captivated by it. A weak man bends for acceptance. A strong man bends reality. A weak man hopes to be liked. A strong man demands to be respected. A weak man waits for validation. A strong man becomes the standard. Women are drawn to competence, to certainty, to power. They do not admire words, they admire action. They do not respect neediness, they respect mastery. They do not follow the lost, they follow the man who has already won. A man who builds himself first becomes the very thing that others seek, but few ever find. He does not beg for attention. He does not compromise his values. He does not seek completion in another. He stands as a force of nature, shaped by discipline, sharpened by solitude, and driven by purpose. He is not a man lost in the chaos of fleeting desires. He is a man who dictates the course of his own existence. The longer a man spends without a relationship, the more time he has to refine himself into something undeniable. Every hour of solitude, every moment of struggle, every sacrifice made in pursuit of mastery is an investment in becoming someone the world cannot ignore. He transforms weakness into strength, hesitation into certainty, and loneliness into power. He becomes